Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So in this video we are going to look at the pseudocodes and it is a continuation to the previous video. So if you have not watched the previous video, that is the part 1 in the InfinityQ pseudocode practice, you can go watch it and I will link the video up on the card so you can go check it out. So continuing in this video, we are again going to look at 3 examples, but they will involve some core concepts which you need to grasp properly to solve any kind of question which includes those concepts, but the codes are a bit longer, so that will be really helpful for you to solve it in a really efficient manner. So let's look at it. So in this first example, we have to predict the output for the following pseudocode. Here we have a function that is fun1 and it takes two integers a and b and it has a return type of an integer. But what is happening here is we have two things which is taking place. So we are going to break the code into pieces and make you understand it in a much better manner. So what is happening here is a XOR equals to b and b XOR equals to a. These are the two operations which is happening here. Again, here syntactic sugar has been used. So if you want to elaborate the first line of code, it can be simply written as a equals to a XOR b, and the second line can be written as b equals to b XOR a. So the XOR operation is again something which comes under bit manipulation, about which we talked in the previous video. So what does the XOR operation basically do? So say for two values, say x and y, if the values are same, performing an XOR operation on those two values will return a 0 value. And if say again we have two numbers x and y, but this time the value of x and y is different, so in that case it will return the value as 1. Now condition provided, both x and y in this case are being dealt in binary, so we are talking in zeros and ones. So say if you want to do an XOR operation on 4 and 9, so say 4 XOR 9, in that case what will be happening is we will be converting the value of 4 in binary and then the value of 9 in binary, after which we can perform the XOR operation. So that is primitively what is going on in here. So if you look at the explanation part of this particular question, you will get to know things in a much better manner. So what is happening is we have 4 in binary, we converted into binary, and 9 is also converted into binary, and then we perform the respective operations. So in this case you can see that we have been performing a equals to a XOR b, which means the value of a is 4 and the value of b is 9. Once the XOR operation is performed, the value is getting stored in a. So your the variable a will be storing the value 13 after the XOR operation is performed. Now how the XOR operation is performed, I have explained it right now. And as you can see in the first part of this code, the XOR operation which has been written in the bottom, you can see that we are performing an XOR operation on binary values of 4 and 9, which results in 13, or 1101 in binary, and the value of a now becomes 13. In the second operation, since the value of a has already been updated, we are performing b equals to b XOR a, which means we are performing the XOR operation between 13 and 9 in this case. So the value of a is 13, so you have to keep a check on the updated values as well. So we are doing that. So 1101, that is 13, and 1001, that is 9. We are talking in binaries, remember that. So we have performed that operation, and again since you can see that syntactic sugar has been used here, so b XOR equals to a is nothing but b equals to b XOR a. So the value of b is now updated to the updated value after the calculation, which results in 4. So the value which will be returned is 4. So your output in this case shall be 4. So you can also convert it into a code and try to execute it as well. You can find the answers, and you can check and verify the answers if the following pseudocode which you are solving is correct or not. So now let's look at another example. So in this particular pseudocode we have to predict the output. Now what do we have here? We have three integers a, b and c, and we have values assigned to them, that is a equals to 4, b equals to 9 and c is equal to 9. Now what is the important part which you have to take care of in this case is there are two different operations which are being performed under the if condition, as we discussed about it in the previous video, that there can be certain operations which can be going inside of your if else block, which can evaluate to a value that needs to be perfect if you want to evaluate a correct answer. Now here you can see that we are performing two operations, that is AND operation and a right shift operation. As we discussed in the previous video what left shift and right shift is, and if you are familiar with it, then it will be really easy. So basically we have the value of c as 9 and the value of a as 4. So always brackets or anything which is getting evaluated inside of brackets gets the priority first. So we have 9 which is right shifted 4 times. So if you perform the right shift operation on 9, you will get the value as 4 first, because it's an integer division as we discussed in the previous video. And for every right operation you do on a value, the value gets halved each time. So the value of 9 when the first operation is performed will get evaluated to 4. So when we perform a right shift on 9 once, the value gets evaluated to 4. When we operate it the second time, it gets evaluated to 2. When we do it the third time, it gets evaluated to 1. And when we do it for the fourth time, it will get evaluated to 0. So basically your value which is getting evaluated inside C right shift A will evaluate to 0. If you are doing an AND operation here, just as you can see that we have the value of B as 9, you are doing an AND operation with 0 which will evaluate to 0. Now as a side note, always remember that anything which gets evaluated to 0 is basically false, and everything which gets evaluated to 1 is true. So in this case, the answer which we are getting out from the if block is 0, which means that your code will not enter the if block. It will simply go into the else block and it will print the value of A, B and C. So we add up the values of 4, 9 and 9, which evaluates to 22. So as you can see, I have given the code, and I have provided some explanation in the form of comments. So that should be helpful for you to evaluate the answer, that will be 22. So now let's look at another example. So in this we have to predict the output of the following pseudocode and print the output. So here we have 3 different variables A, B and C, and then we are setting the value of A, B and C to 3. Each of them holds the same value, and then we are performing the check on the if condition. You can see that there is A and B and C which is enclosed in the if block. As you can see that the value of A, B and C is basically the same. So in that case, any kind of AND operation which you perform on the same variable will result in the same answer. So say you are performing AND operation of 3 on 3, that will result in the same answer because your bits never changed, and the AND operation will result basically in the same answer. So your answer for this particular thing will remain the same. So the if block gets evaluated to 3, which is not 0, which means the value is true. So we enter into the if block and then we evaluate our answer, which means that the variable A will store the value which has been evaluated in the if block, because the equation which is provided in the if block is the same. So your variable A is storing the value 3. In the second case, that is the second part of the code, we have A XOR B XOR C. So here we are performing XOR operation again between A, B and C. Now if your variables had different values, then you had to do the calculations accordingly. However, in this case the value of A, B and C are one and the same, so basically your answer will again be unchanged. So in this case the variable A will again store the value 3. So your variable A has the value of 3 from the start to the end. However, we cannot be sure about this every time. So you need to check your code, and then we finally print the output, that is A minus B plus C. So all of them were holding the value of 3, which will get evaluated to 3 minus 3 plus 3, and the output will finally be 3. So sometimes this code might look intimidating, but the variables and the calculations which you are performing on those variables matters the most. So if you are perfect on that particular thing, then it should not be a problem and you will be easily able to solve it. So in this case we have seen some examples again, and there are some core concepts which we have discussed along with how to solve them properly. We have also talked about precedence. So that is the video all about. So thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to like this video, share this video to the one who needs it, and also subscribe to our Telegram channel, for which all the links are mentioned in the description box below. And if you like our work, make sure to comment down below and also tell us about any of the doubts which you encounter while solving these problems. We will be really happy to help you. So once again, thank you for watching this video, and as always, keep learning and keep programming.